Star Wars Jedi Survivor is a hard game to review. On one side, you got new gameplay mechanics, more additional content, improvements in many aspects from the first game. Then on the other side, we got game-breaking bugs, huge performance issues. Like a 4090 struggled to run this game at constant 60 FPS at launch. And the consoles are also not safe this time, usually it's just the PC ports. For me personally, the game had constant texture object pop-ins. It looks blurry, even when FSR is turned off, the game looks blurry. And in fact, FSR quality actually removed the blur effect. And for some reason, the game render resolution is set at 50% at default. And there is no option to change it in the in-game settings. I actually didn't have any major bugs, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I was playing at 60 FPS at the beginning, but then switched to 30 FPS after having frame drops in the bigger open areas. So this performance, this is unacceptable. This is not the next gen gaming we were promised for. I will say you have to buy this game, just wait for a sale. This game is great, I had a blast playing it. It's just not worth paying full price for. Or at least wait until the game gets fixed. Now I want to focus on this game completely excluding the optimization. Let's see how the game is without the performance problem. The first level itself, it's such a great start to a sequel. It is a great example of how a sequel with the same playable character should do its first level. We have all the abilities from Fallen Order from the get-go. We fight all the enemies we fought in Fallen Order. And even the boss was just a showcase of how strong you have gotten from the first game. I really like this approach because many sequels tend to reset our abilities and we start from zero again. It breaks the immersion of being a sequel. Talking about improvements and new additions, there's a lot. We finally got the fast travel feature. We have more customization for Cal and BD1 and even some unique stance-based lightsaber customization. The playable area in each planet got way bigger than before. And it's not that it's just big, it is actually filled with stuff to do. We have a lot of new side quests, new NPC, new shops, new Zelda-like shrines, combat and parkour challenge. We also have talismans or like perk system from other RPGs. All I'm saying is this is enough to justify the bigger size of the areas than just making everything semi or full open world just to claim it's a big game. So I mainly focus on the main story with some side contents in between. That took me about 24 hours. Now I have all the other side quests, challenge, legendary enemies, the shrines. You're gonna get the opportunity to spend a lot of time in this game. The combat in Fallen Order was already great, and now with the addition of new abilities and the stance, the combat got even way better. Now you have a lot of freedom in terms of style and creativity. The stances are my favorite addition. I end up using every stance for a good amount of time. It all felt different, and one can be better than others in certain encounters, and you can change it in a go at a rush spot without any price. And we can also reset our skills for a small price. This is a great change as it also helps us change our active stances more easily, and also it be viable at any point of the game. The game can also be really beautiful, at least at times when everything is working in favor. Now Fallen Order was the first time I got exposed to Star Wars universe, so the story and the characters are special for me in that sense. And at the end I can say I was satisfied. It had some things I didn't like, but overall it was a great story. In Jedi Survivor we continue Cal's story after a time skip, so at first we get introduced to new characters and slowly feeling what all happened between the time skip. It takes a while to get going, but once it gets going and have a solid objective, it gets really good. The final act is amazing. It is really an experience. They go all out in some segments. So except for performance, I was actually praising the game, but there are some smaller negatives too. The main villain of the game, Dagan, he was supposed to be the second sister of Jedi Survivor. Like get introduced early, have multiple encounters throughout the game. But second sister is just a better villain in all aspects. Dagan misses in almost every aspect. His character is boring, forgettable, he doesn't feel like a threat. His boss fights are also not great. Rave is on the other hand a secondary villain. He stands out way better and is more memorable than Dagan. I really liked how they teased second sister, her power and skills in each encounters, but Dagan doesn't feel different or have unique movesets. It ends up being a time waste. And it's not just Dagan boss fights, the boss fights in general, except for 1 or 2, was not great. So I think Fallen Order had more memorable boss fights overall. The only boss fights I liked are Ravis and 2 others which I'm not saying the name, but if you have played you can guess. The legendary enemies which are like the side content bosses, I don't think their boss design was great, but at least they were memorable. So overall it's a hard game to rate given the state, so I will give this game an 8.5 out of 10 if we exclude the performance problems, and a -3 optimization score for the performance. So in the end, you could say it's like a 5 out of 10 game now. So you could ask, why not just give it a 5 out of 10? Well, the reason I give performance score separate here because the game is gonna get fixed slowly. So at that time, a 5 out of 10 is gonna be invalid. At the same time, I can't just ignore the performance and give an 8.5. So I hope you understand. So at the end, it's an 8.5 out of 10 game, a great game, but right now it has a -3 performance score. So you should wait at least that performance problems are fixed.